The great council chamber of the Valkyrie Imperium buzzed with activity. 7 different alien species gathered around the massive star map that showed their 12,000 cycles of expansion across the Milky Way. At the center stood High Chancellor Vexlor, his blue skin gleaming under the bright lights. "Our surveys continue as planned," he announced. "The galaxy remains ours to govern, as it has been since our ancestors first reached the stars." Dr. Kethel watched from his seat with quiet pride. As the Imperium's lead archaeologist, his work helped prove their rightful place as the first spacefaring civilization. His four-fingered hand moved through the holographic display, highlighting newly discovered ruins on distant worlds. "All evidence supports our historical records," he said. "No species mastered space travel before the Valkyrie. This is why we must guide the younger races." His assistant Zora nodded eagerly. Young and ambitious, she had joined his research team hoping to make important discoveries. "The Eternal Wisdom is ready for our next mission," she reported. "We leave tomorrow for the edge of the Orion Arm." After the meeting, Kethel boarded the research vessel. The Eternal Wisdom was the pride of the archaeological fleet, equipped with the best scanning technology in the Imperium. As they left the Valkyrie homeworld behind, Kethel felt the familiar excitement of exploration. "This system has been uninhabited for millennia," he told his research team. "Yet our long-range scans detected unusual energy patterns. We must find their source." On Earth, Commander Diane Foster walked through the underground halls of the Space Command Center. 3 centuries after the great solar flare that destroyed most of Earth's technology, humanity was finally reaching for the stars again. The disaster had set them back to pre-digital technology. It took generations to rebuild computers, satellites, and finally, spaceships. Now humanity had managed to visit nearby stars, but they remained unknown to the wider galaxy. "Commander Foster, the Pathfinder is ready," said Sam Mitchell, her navigator. Tall with dark hair and steady hands, Sam was the best pilot in the fleet. "Good," Diane replied. "The signal from HD 200 and 9458 is our most promising lead yet." Dr. Alan Wilder hurried to join them, carrying his research tablet. "The signal patterns suggest artificial origin," he said excitedly. The xenorchaeologist had spent his career studying the few alien artifacts humans had found. "This could be the proof we've been looking for, that we're not alone." The ESV Pathfinder was Earth's newest exploration vessel, small compared to the massive ships of the Valkyrie, but built with the determination that defined humanity's recovery. As the crew boarded, Diane felt the weight of their mission. "This is the furthest any human has traveled since before the flare," she told her crew during their final briefing. "We don't know what we'll find out there, but whatever it is, it could change everything we know about our place in the universe." What Diane couldn't know was that at that very moment, Dr. Kethel's team was making a landing on the 4th planet of the same system. As both expeditions prepared to explore, neither was aware of how their meeting would shake the foundations of galactic history. The Eternal Wisdom settled onto the dusty surface near what appeared to be ancient ruins. Kethel stepped out, his environmental suit protecting him from the thin atmosphere. The structure before him followed no design principles he recognized. "This is unlike anything in our records," he said, confusion clear in his voice. Meanwhile, the Pathfinder entered the outer edges of the system, its sensors detecting both the ruins and, to everyone's shock, an alien vessel already present. Sam turned to Diane, his eyes wide. "Commander, we're not alone out here." Diane nodded, her face calm despite her racing heart. "Send the greeting message we prepared. It's time humanity introduced itself to the stars." Dr. Kethel moved slowly through the ancient ruins. His scanner hummed as it recorded every detail of the strange symbols carved into the walls. Nothing about this place matched any known civilization in the Valkyrie archives. "These structures suggest advanced engineering knowledge," said Zora, examining a perfectly preserved archway. "And look at these material compositions. They use techniques we've only recently developed." Kethel nodded, his concern growing. The preliminary dating suggests these ruins are at least 20,000 cycles old. Zora looked up sharply. But that's impossible. The Valkyrie achieved space travel only 12,000 cycles ago. Exactly, Kethel said quietly. Someone was here before us. Their conversation was interrupted by an urgent call from the Eternal Wisdom. Doctor, we've detected an approaching vessel. It's using a propulsion system we've never encountered before. Kethel hurried back to their ship. On the main view screen, he saw a smaller vessel entering orbit around the planet. Its design was completely foreign to him. Open a communication channel, he ordered. Aboard the ESV Pathfinder, Commander Diane Foster stared at the alien ship on her screen. It was massive compared to their vessel, with a sleek design that spoke of advanced technology. "They're hailing us," Sam reported, his fingers hovering over the controls. Diane took a deep breath. "Put them through." The screen flickered, and for the first time in recorded history, humans gazed upon an alien face. The blue-skinned being had large, round eyes and no visible nose. "Unknown vessel," the alien spoke in a surprisingly musical voice. "This is Dr. Kethel of the Valkyrie Imperium. Identify yourselves and explain your presence in this system." Diane stood tall. "I am Commander Diane Foster of the Earth Science Vessel Pathfinder. We are explorers from the planet Earth, following a signal of interest." The alien's eyes widened. "Earth. We have no record of spacefaring civilization from that region." He paused, then asked directly, "How did you acquire faster-than-light technology?" Diane exchanged glances with Sam before answering. "We developed it independently over many generations." This seemed to disturb the alien greatly. After a brief discussion with others off-screen, Kethel returned with a proposition. "We are investigating ruins on the fourth planet. Your expertise might provide different perspectives. Would you join our research team?" Dr. Alan Wilder could barely contain his excitement. "Commander, this is the opportunity of a lifetime." Diane considered carefully before responding. "We accept your invitation." The landing party from the Pathfinder approached the ruins with caution. Dr. Wilder led the team, carrying equipment to document everything they found. The aliens were already working inside the main structure when they arrived. Kethel greeted them formally, introducing his assistant Zora and the other researchers. Though polite, tension filled the air. Dr. Wilder began examining the symbols covering the walls. "These inscriptions," he muttered, tracing his fingers over the carvings. "They seem oddly familiar." Zora watched him closely. "Familiar how?" "Some of these patterns resemble ancient human writing systems," Wilder explained. "See this recurring symbol? The arrangement suggests a mathematical sequence we've seen in Earth's oldest ruins." Kethel moved closer, his interest piqued despite his suspicion. "That's not possible." Wilder pointed to a section of wall where the symbols were better preserved. "Look at this sequence. It's similar to what we call the Fibonacci spiral, a mathematical pattern found throughout nature on Earth." As they continued exploring deeper into the ruins, both teams made their way to a central chamber. Inside, they found what appeared to be a control panel, still partially functional after thousands of years. When Dr. Wilder placed his hand near it, the panel suddenly illuminated with a soft blue glow. "It's responding to your presence," Kethel said, astonishment clear in his voice. The light from the panel projected a series of star maps into the air above them. Among the swirling galaxies and solar systems, one configuration stood out clearly. Diane recognized it immediately. "That's our solar system. That's Earth." All eyes, human and alien alike, focused on the projection as the impossible truth began to dawn on them. These ruins weren't just older than Valkyrie civilization. They might be human in origin. The central chamber of the ruins fell silent as both humans and aliens stared at the star map showing Earth's solar system. Dr. Wilder moved slowly around the projection, his scientific mind racing with possibilities. "These coordinates are exact," he said, "down to the orbital paths of our planets. Whoever built this knew Earth intimately." Dr. Kethel's expression was unreadable, but Zora couldn't hide her amazement. "How is this possible?" she asked. "Your species only recently achieved space travel, by your own admission." "According to our current records," Diane replied carefully. 3 centuries ago, a massive solar flare destroyed most of our technology and historical archives. We've been rebuilding since then." Kethel moved to another console and activated it with a practiced motion. More star charts appeared, showing travel routes connecting dozens of star systems. All of them led back to Earth. "These appear to be navigation routes," Kethel said. "If these ruins are as old as our tests indicate, then humans must have traveled the stars long before the Valkyrie." Dr. Wilder nodded. "That would explain the familiarity of these symbols. They evolved from ancient human writing." Aboard the Pathfinder, Sam Mitchell worked quietly in the communications room. He had intercepted encrypted transmissions between the Eternal Wisdom and the Valkyrie homeworld. Though he couldn't decipher the language, the increased frequency and urgency were concerning. "Commander," he called Diane on her personal channel. "The aliens are sending a lot of data back home. Their communications increased by 300% in the last hour." "Keep monitoring," Diane instructed. "We need to know what we're dealing with." On Earth, analysts worked furiously to piece together the transmissions from the Pathfinder. Professor Olivia Grant, a specialist in pre-flare history, had been called in when the star maps were discovered. "These coordinates match fragments we found in the deepest archive layers," she told the gathered officials. "There are references to something called the Exodus mission that launched approximately 5 centuries ago." She displayed an ancient document recovered from a protected vault. "This suggests humans sent colony ships to multiple star systems before the flare. We had dismissed these as myths or propaganda, but now—" The room buzzed with excitement. "We had a galactic civilization before the flare," someone whispered. Back in the ruins, Dr. Wilder and Zora had separated from the main group. Their shared scientific curiosity had created an unexpected bond between them. "My superiors wouldn't approve of this," Zora said as they examined a sealed doorway deep within the structure. "They've ordered us to restrict your access to certain areas." Wilder looked at her with surprise. "Why tell me this?" "Because truth matters more than politics," she replied. "These ruins challenge everything my people believe about our place in the galaxy. Don't you want to know what really happened?" Together, they managed to open the sealed vault. Inside, they found what looked like personal quarters. Preserved within were items unmistakably human in design. A damaged photograph showing people standing before a spacecraft, clothing with faded Earth insignias, and a journal written in an ancient human language. "This is proof," Wilder said, his voice barely above a whisper. "Humans were here, thousands of years before the Valkyrie claimed to be the first in space." Zora examined the photograph. "Your ancestors built this outpost. But what happened to them? Why did they disappear?" As they continued exploring, they discovered a data storage unit still functioning after millennia. When they activated it, a holographic message began to play. The message showed a human woman in a uniform speaking urgently. "This is Captain Eva Martins of the Earth Deep Space Initiative." The recording began. "We've established 27 outposts across this sector. Our mission continues despite challenges. The new propulsion system has revolutionized our capabilities, allowing us to—" The message cut off abruptly, but it was enough. Wilder looked at Zora, whose large eyes had widened even further. "You need to see this," Zora said suddenly, pointing to a date marker on the recording. "According to our calendar conversion, this message was recorded nearly 25,000 cycles ago. Their discovery would shake the foundations of the Valkyrie Imperium's authority and rewrite humanity's forgotten history." News of the human ruins spread through the Valkyrie Imperium like wildfire. Council chambers that had known only order for thousands of cycles erupted into chaos. The 7 species that made up the Imperium demanded answers. "How can we trust Valkyrie leadership when their central claim is false?" demanded the representative of the Jexari. a reptilian species that had joined the Imperium 3,000 cycles ago. If humans mastered space travel before the Valkyrie, what else have we been misled about? High Chancellor Vexilor struggled to maintain control. One archaeological site proves nothing. We need more evidence before jumping to conclusions. But it was too late. The revelation had sparked something that couldn't be contained. Other member species began questioning everything about the power structure that had governed them for millennia. The High Council made a swift decision. Dispatch the Imperial Enforcer to secure the site and control information flow. Vexilor ordered. No more data leaves that planet until we decide how to proceed. Dr. Kethel received the Council's orders with growing dismay. His entire career had been built on understanding galactic history. Now he was being asked to suppress possibly the most important discovery of all time. He sat alone in his quarters aboard the Eternal Wisdom, staring at the data they had collected. If humans truly had been spacefaring 25,000 cycles ago, what did that mean for Valkyrie history? Had his people's founders known this truth and hidden it? After hours of internal struggle, he made his decision. He would help the humans preserve the evidence, regardless of what it meant for his career or even his life. "They're sending a military vessel," Sam told Commander Foster during an emergency meeting. "I've decoded enough of their transmissions to know we're in danger." "How long do we have?" Diane asked. 3 days at most. Dr. Wilder spoke up. "We need to document everything before we leave. The data storage units in the ruins contain historical records that could explain what happened to Earth's first interstellar civilization." Diane nodded. "Work with Dr. Kethel if you can. He seems more concerned with truth than politics." In the ruins, Wilder and Kethel worked frantically to extract data from the ancient systems. Zora helped them bypass security protocols that had protected the information for millennia. "Look at this," Wilder said as a new star map appeared. "These are human outposts. Not dozens, hundreds of them, spread across the galaxy." Kethel studied the map in amazement. "This contradicts everything we know about galactic settlement patterns." As they dug deeper into the records, they found personal logs from the human colonists. The data painted an astonishing picture. Humans had achieved faster-than-light travel nearly a millennium before the Great Solar Flare. They had built a vast network of outposts and colonies, exploring further than even the modern Valkyrie Imperium. But something happened, Wilder said, reading through the increasingly desperate log entries. The colonies lost contact with each other. There are references to some kind of catastrophe, but the details are damage. Kethel discovered a final log entry that made his blood run cold. "Listen to this. It's coming from the core. We can't stop it. Earth must be warned. If anyone finds this record, tell them not to." The message ended abruptly. "Not to what?" Zora asked, her voice barely a whisper. Before they could search for more answers, alarms sounded throughout the compound. "The Imperial Enforcer has entered the system," Kethel said grimly. "Your ship must leave immediately." Diane's voice came through on Wilder's communicator. "We're preparing for emergency departure. Get back to the landing site now." As they rushed to save what data they could, Wilder turned to Zora. "Come with us. Your government will silence this discovery, and possibly you with it." Zora looked from Wilder to Kethel, torn between loyalty to her people and commitment to the truth. In the end, she made her choice. "I'll help you preserve the evidence," she said. "The galaxy deserves to know its true history." The ESV Pathfinder broke orbit just as the Imperial Enforcer entered the system. The Valkyrie military vessel was 3 times the size of the Eternal Wisdom, bristling with weapons that could easily destroy the human ship. "Maximum thrust, Sam," Commander Diane ordered from the bridge. "Plot the most direct course back to Earth." Sam's hands flew across the control panel. "They're locking weapons on us, Commander." Dr. Wilder rushed onto the bridge, clutching data drives containing the precious archaeological evidence. "We've got everything we could download, but we had to leave in such a hurry." He stopped short when he saw Zora standing nervously by the doorway. "She helped us get the data," Wilder explained quickly. She's seeking asylum. Diane studied the alien researcher for a moment before nodding. Welcome aboard, Zora. I hope you understand what you're giving up. I understand that truth matters more than comfort, Zora replied. My people need to face reality, even if it hurts. The ship shuddered as the enforcer fired a warning shot across their bow. A message came through demanding their immediate surrender. They want the evidence, Zora explained, and they want me back. Sam looked up from his console with a smile. Well, they can't have either. Hold tight, everyone. The Pathfinder surged forward, diving toward the star at the center of the system. Using a technique they had developed but never tested in combat, Sam used the star's gravity to slingshot them into a trajectory that the larger enforcer couldn't match. It worked. Sam shouted as the pursuing vessel fell behind. We've bought ourselves some time. Across the galaxy, the news of human ruins older than Valkyrie civilization continued to spread despite the Council's efforts to contain it. On worlds that had chafed under Imperium rule for thousands of cycles, protests erupted in major cities. The Neri, an aquatic species who had joined the Imperium 5,000 cycles ago, were the first to openly rebel. Their representatives stood before the Council and formally declared independence. The Valkyrie claim to authority was based on being first, the Neri ambassador stated. That claim is now proven false. We withdraw from the Imperium, effective immediately. Other species quickly followed. The carefully maintained order of 12,000 cycles began to crumble in a matter of days. On Earth, the revelations from the Pathfinder transformed human society overnight. Professor Olivia Grant led a team working around the clock to analyze the data and compare it with fragments from their own archives. Our ancestors reached the stars long before the flare, she announced at a global press conference. We had hundreds of colonies and outposts. We weren't just spacefaring. We were one of the dominant powers in the galaxy. The knowledge sparked a new sense of purpose in humanity. Global leaders united behind an accelerated space program, seeing it not as a new frontier, but as reclaiming their cosmic heritage. Dr. Kethel stood before the Valkyrie High Council, chains binding his wrists. He had been arrested for treason immediately after the Pathfinder escaped. You betrayed your species, High Chancellor Vexlor accused. You helped these humans steal our historical data. Kethel looked around the council chamber, noting the many empty seats where representatives of now rebellious species once sat. I didn't betray my species, he replied calmly. I served the truth, which you have hidden for generations. The council chamber's broadcast system was still active, transmitting his trial throughout Valkyrie space. Kethel knew this might be his only chance to share what he had learned. The records we found show that humans weren't just spacefaring before us. They were fleeing from something catastrophic that wiped out their civilization. He paused to let his words sink in. And the most damning truth. Our earliest records show our ancestors knew this. They found human ruins just as we did, but they hid this knowledge to build the Imperium. His words sent shockwaves through the listening public. Vexlor ordered the transmission cut, but the damage was done. More worlds declared independence that same day. In the confusion, no one noticed small energy signatures appearing at the edge of charted space, signatures that matched the warnings in the ancient human records. 1 year after their return to Earth, Dr. Alan Welder stood at the entrance of another ancient human outpost. This one had been discovered on a planet just 12 light years from Earth. Its preservation was remarkable. Sealed chambers had protected much of the technology and records from the ravages of time. The dating confirms it, he told the research team behind him. This site is from the same era as the first ruins we found. With him was Zora, who had adapted to life among humans with surprising ease. Her knowledge of Valkyrie archaeology had proven invaluable as they uncovered more sites. These outposts follow a pattern, she noted, studying a holographic map. They form a defensive perimeter around Earth's sector. Your ancestors were protecting something. As they explored deeper into the facility, they discovered a sealed vault much larger than any they had found before. When they finally bypassed its security measures, what they found inside sent chills down their spines. The chamber contained warning beacons, hundreds of them, designed to be deployed across space. Each bore the same message, translated into dozens of alien languages. Danger. Du nenokti vve lop huantum field tt enology. Risk of Kuori radiation PULC. Wilder stared at the warnings in shock. They knew about some kind of danger and were trying to warn others. The Pathfinder, now upgraded and recommissioned under Commander Diane Foster, traveled through what had once been Imperium space. Many former member worlds had welcomed human contact, eager to learn more about the species that predated the Valkyrie. Another report of strange energy readings, Sam reported from his navigator's station. That's the 5th this month. Diane frowned at the star chart where the anomalies were marked. They're appearing more frequently, and always at these specific coordinates. Zora had shared her knowledge of the former Imperium territories, allowing the Pathfinder to make peaceful contact with several species. From these new allies came disturbing news. Similar energy signatures had been detected throughout the sector, matching patterns described in the ancient human warnings. Whatever our ancestors were running from, Diane told her crew, I think it's happening again. On the Valkyrie homeworld, civil unrest had forced massive governmental reforms. The old council had been dissolved, replaced by a more representative body that included members from all species that remained in the alliance. Dr. Kethel, released from imprisonment by the new government, immediately requested access to the deepest archives, records so old that few had ever been granted permission to view them. His suspicions were confirmed when he found records dating back to the founding of the Imperium. The earliest Valkyrie space explorers had indeed discovered evidence of prior civilizations, including humanity's first interstellar empire. More disturbing were the references to what they called the Purge, a massive wave of energy from the galactic core that had wiped out all advanced technology in its path. The early Valkyrie leaders had discovered the warnings left by humans and other species, but chose to ignore them, seeing an opportunity to build their own empire in the aftermath. They knew, Kethel whispered, holding records that were over 12,000 cycles old. They knew what happened to humanity and chose to hide it. The records contained one more crucial piece of information, the cycle of these energy pulses. According to the ancient calculations, another pulse was due within 5 years. Kethel immediately sent an emergency message to Earth. Your ancestors were right, his message stated. The danger is real, and it's returning. We must combine our knowledge if any of us are to survive. In deep space, at the very edge of the galactic core, automated sensors left by long-dead human scientists began to activate. Energy readings were increasing exactly as predicted in 1,000-year-old models. Inside a massive installation hidden among dense star clusters, ancient machinery, dormant for centuries, began to power up. A partial shield generator, the last project of humanity's first space age, waited to be completed by their descendants who had finally returned to the stars. Representatives from 27 formerly warring species gathered in the Great Assembly Hall on Earth. It was the largest gathering of different civilizations in known galactic history. At the center of the hall stood a simple wooden podium where Carol Bennett, Earth's chief diplomat, addressed the crowd. For too long, our species were kept apart by lies, she said. Now we must unite against a threat that has ended civilizations before. The evidence had become impossible to ignore. Energy readings from the galactic core were increasing daily. Scientists from dozens of worlds confirmed the pattern matched exactly what was described in the ancient human warnings. Dr. Kethel, now serving as the lead representative from the reformed Valkyrie government, stepped forward to speak. My ancestors discovered the truth but hid it for power, he admitted. They found the ruins of human civilization after the last pulse and chose to build their empire on secrecy. We cannot repeat their mistake. The coalition brought together technologies and knowledge that no single species could have developed alone. Former Imperium shipyards now built vessels designed with human ingenuity and alien materials. The combination proved more powerful than either could achieve separately. On Mars, Dr. Wilder and Zora led the newly established Archaeological Research Institute. Their team had spent months deciphering the complete warning messages left by ancient humans. "It's not a weapon or an attack," Zora explained to the coalition leaders. "The radiation pulses are a natural phenomenon, energy discharges from the galactic core that occur approximately every 5,000 years. Wilder pointed to their simulation. "The pulses specifically disrupt quantum field technologies, the basis for all advanced spacefaring civilization. That's why advanced cultures rise and fall in cycles." The most important discovery came from combining human historical records with Valkyrie star charts, the location of a massive engineering project begun by ancient humans before the last pulse destroyed their civilization. "They were building a shield generator," Wilder explained, "something to protect the galaxy from the radiation. But they ran out of time." Commander Diane Foster stood on the bridge of the renamed ESV Unity, Earth's most advanced vessel. Behind her ship flew a fleet of vessels from 12 different species, all headed toward the coordinates hidden in the ancient human facility. "We're approaching the galactic core," Sam reported. "Radiation levels are increasing, but our shields are holding." When they reached the coordinates, they found exactly what the ancient records had described: a massive structure built into an asteroid field near the core. Parts of it were clearly thousands of years old, while other sections looked incomplete. "The plans are intact," Wilder reported from his station. "They never finished connecting the main deflector array." Dr. Kethel arrived with the Valkyrie science vessel carrying crucial components, developed using technology from their archives. "We have what we need to complete their work," he said, "but the radiation levels are already rising." Together, teams of humans and aliens worked frantically to finish what their ancestors had started thousands of years ago. Engineers from 7 different species combined their knowledge to solve problems that had stumped the original builders. As radiation levels reached critical, Sam detected the first wave of the pulse forming within the core. "It's starting," he warned. "We have minutes at most." In the final moments, as the pulse began to surge outward from the core, Carol Bennett gave the order to activate the shield. Ancient machinery, combined with new technology from a dozen worlds, hummed to life. The wave of deadly radiation hit the shield and dispersed, flowing harmlessly around protected space. For the first time in galactic history, the cycle of destruction had been broken. As the combined fleet headed home, Diane looked at her bridge crew, human and alien working side by side. "No species owns the galaxy," she said, echoing words Dr. Kethel had spoken at the Coalition's first meeting. "We are all its caretakers now." Zora nodded in agreement. "Your ancestors would be proud. They left warnings and began building protection. Now, together, we finish what they started." The Unity led the fleet back toward Earth, where a new era of galactic cooperation was just beginning. One built not on the lies of the past, but on the shared truth of all their histories.